back to Teachable Moments with April. So I wanted to stop in and talk a little bit briefly, now that I've been talking about audiograms and podcasting here on Anchor FM. I want to talk about how I revisited, and I said it in some past podcasts about voiceover work and using podcasting as practice for future voiceover work. I spoke of acx.com, which is a service that for people who are audiobook authors, and also people who are what they are called producers or narrators, people who do voiceover work and read the books for the people who have audiobooks. So I've recently been auditioning it again for it, and I spoke of it. If you missed some earlier podcasts about what it is, ACX, they do for Audibles, they do for Amazon, and they do for iTunes. And when you audition, you will go on there and build a profile. You can also, meaning your information, what is your name, where you're from, what do you do, some of your talents, if you can do accents, if you know other languages, so forth and so on. There also a part on there where you can use a sample or leave a sample where potential authors of their books can listen to you, what you have to offer. I think it's the minimum is 1 minute. And I recently did that. I didn't do it when I first did my profile, but I went back on there and I just picked something from around the house and I read, and then you save it, and then they can listen to it in addition to your audition. Now the audition, what that entails is that when you're looking through the listings, they will tell you what they're looking for. They're looking for the person reading being a male or a female. If you have any kind of accent, and it's not just about speaking in English or Spanish or foreign language, is accents. If you understand what that is, of course you do. Okay, for me, I don't think I have an accent, but people have told me that I have a Midwestern accent. I don't think that I do, but I have been told that by actually people who live here in Chicago, which I find very interesting. To me, it's kind of interesting to me. I tend to revert, so far as accents, into a Southern thing. I think it's when I'm talking to my mother, who is originally from the South. I tend to do that. And I don't even realize that I'm doing it. So that's also something I can use to my advantage. So when you audition for the audiobooks and the particular author, there are different sections on there. It's going to tell, the first section is going to tell you about the author and what the book's mission is. And then you're going to click on the second portion, in which you can either download the text that they want you to read as the audition, or in some cases, it'll have it right there. You don't necessarily have to download it. Usually I tend to be honest with you, I tend to go with the ones that are already on the actual page there versus downloading full text auditions, because I'm a beginner and I'm still learning and I'm not as confident as I would like to be. I tend to pick and audition projects that are less than 3 hours. That also goes into when you're looking up listings. What are you willing to commit to? Are you willing to commit to books that are less than 3 hours, more than 3 hours? How many words that this particular work consists of? that has to also do with your own capabilities and your stamina and endurance so far as speaking and articulation. You have to take that into account. And I even know that even though I am a beginner, how long can you talk? Not to say that you have to continually talk and do it in one sitting. You can break it up. And that gets into another topic that I think that I may talk about in future podcasts of some of the experience that I had before. When you actually accept a project and it is broken up into segments that you can download and submit to the author of the audio book that you've entered into a contract with, along with the deadline, the set deadline that is set by ACX and the author of the audio book that you have a contract with. Now, something that I did in the beginning, as well as I'm doing now as I audition again, is to do a trial run. Meaning I read it, not recording it, I just read it out loud to myself, whatever is on the screen, and then I record it, of course, and then I listen, to the audio. I also do that here whenever I do any kind of audio for my podcast. I listen to it, and I listen to it without the music as well as with the background music here on. And I think that's with anything. If you're a writer, if you have any previous experiences writing, whether it be for pleasure, whether it be for work, that's something that you're going to do. You're going to look over and edit your work to see if it has any typos. It's like with anything. It's connected. It's a carryover there. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and that's what I love about it. When I came across it, actually on Spotify, and I thought I'd always been wondering how to do it, how to make that transition into it. And Anchor has made it so easy, and I am so glad that I have found it, and I've started my podcast for my social skills group, and hopefully I can use it for my students as well in my class. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. When you're looking at the listings, pay very close attention to the first page of the author's information on there, or what they're looking for. A lot of times they're looking for, if it's for the audience, who are you talking to? Young adults, children's books. That goes into the genre of what kind of, if there's a set genre that you want to look into auditioning and doing voiceover work for. They are going to also give you some authors, not all authors, are going to give you a little bit more to go on of what they're looking for. And when you're reading for them, they want enthusiastic, they want monotone, they want excited, they're going to give you that extra something. There are some authors that don't, and then you will basically not get the gig because of whatever the reasons are. I have had in the past, when I first did it, they liked my voice, but they needed a little bit more, and they would like there's obviously an area on your profile where they can send you messages, okay, and communicate with you. I like your voice, but it's this, that, can you do that? And then you would re-audition for them. So yeah, that's basically it. When I audition, I try to do on the days that I am not working my regular job and I'm rested and not tired, and I keep a list. I write down, because I'm kind of old school, so I'll write down who I auditioned for, what the date was, and basically, yeah. And then so when I go back, I can just keep going down the line. If you don't get the audition, they will messenger you and let you know, thank you for auditioning, you didn't get it. They were going in a different direction. So hopefully this has helped anyone listening out there thinking about doing voiceover work. More importantly, reading audiobooks. I also want to remind you, if you're listening, is to look up Fiverr and Upwork. And there was another one also I need to get back to. I haven't got back to that one. I just started with ACXs because I'm more familiar with it, but I have gone on to those Fiverr and Upwork and put up a profile, but I need to go back on there and actually listen to other people's, which you can access their samples on their particular profile. To get an ideal of the climate of how you should act on there, what you should present, what has given other people success. That's always going to be your template. That's going to be your example. That's going to be your model for anything. And on Fiverr, I know for a fact that the people will put how much money that they actually want, and it's actually pretty I don't want to say cheap. I don't want to make it seem cheap and give it like a negative connotation, but I have seen people, when I glanced at it when I was on there, starting at $5 per project, $5 per word, so forth and so on. And that's something else that myself and any other beginner would really need to learn and to look at and to study and do your research. A lot of them have YouTube channels in which they have tutorials. That's also a great tool that you can use in order to answer any questions that you may have or concerns.